Hi there, guys. It's Dan here with your weekly update. Just want to start with the stock markets, with the stock indices. Big news today. We've got CPI at 130, and just ahead of that sort of announcement, obviously, it's a reflection on consumer prices, consumer price index. So, how much have things gone up, and is inflation still high, and therefore will the bank, will the Fed and the central banks raise their rates? Well, just how's that reflected on the charts? I'm just looking at the DAX here, and we've had a decent rally in the last few weeks, but now we're hitting into this sort of weekly resistance above price. And if we look at that on the monthly, it's still red on the monthly, and we're early in a move down here on the storyteller. And so a little bit in no man's land, in sort of crocodile jaws. So we're seeing that, will this announcement, will the volume step back into the markets, getting towards the middle of the summer? Are we going to get some price action now, and do we sort of roll over? We've certainly got some intraday setups kind of happening, potential here for trend predictor short setting up in sort of about an hour and a half as I do this video. So, watching that, we did fail, which is quite interesting, on the 4 hours here to make a new high on this upward move. And so we normally, with sort of A, B, and then kind of a C wave down, maybe down to here. So looking for that today, and then if it does sort of roll over and keep going, we could be back down to the lows and beyond. So keeping an eye on that with the DAX, and I think it's pretty similar on Wall Street. We've got this big loss of momentum here on the storyteller, and it really is. We really are struggling to sort of, push up with any real conviction. It is moving up. We're stuck in between moving averages on the daily. We really are, moving into weekly resistance, monthly resistance. And so we're just seeing if the bulls lose their way, and if we roll over. I mean, we're setting up a trend predictor here for this month to close and confirm. Maybe some more downside next month. Maybe that will start this afternoon. So yeah, interesting times. The Nasdaq as well, just casting an eye on that. Same thing really. Trend predictor setting up on the monthly, telling us we could push down for the next month. The rally is finding that sort of weekly resistance. We're right at this kind of previous low here, real band of sort of, as we look to the left, real band of resistance on the weekly. And we had a bit of a sell-off yesterday, failure to sort of make a new high. And do we roll over from here? We're looking for that. I mean, we've got a bit of a channel here on the daily in the Nasdaq, and need to sort of change that line a little bit. Now, if we pop back down into that channel, it's very bearish. We could push to sort of new lows. The other area interested in is gold. Gold has had a nice sort of rally, and we're into these sort of money line zones where we could see the highs rejected, and we continue lower. If we look at the monthly here, on the storyteller, it's still red here. And we've sort of, price has ping-ponged between the moving averages, touched here, rallied up, and now we're back into that monthly resistance. Do we push through and turn green and head on back up to the highs, or do we fail here? It looks from a momentum perspective like we want to sort of roll over here, and certainly be looking for that. The last week confirmed a trend predictor short, so we're watching that today, just watching for a bit of a 4-hour trend line break. It's quite a nice trend line on the 4 hours. See this here. So yeah, 4 4-hour trend, or trend predictor on the weekly, seeing if this can break. If this breaks today, I will, take an entry here with a stop at the color change highs and see if we can get back down to the lows, back into the 1600s sort of zone. It'd be quite a hefty move in gold. So watching out for that. And then if we go to other commodity, I sort of regularly trade, crude oil. Crude oil just looks, it's in a really nice kind of channel on the daily. And we're just sort of trading this channel really. Every time it sort of gets to the highs of the channel, seems to want to roll over. We're doing it again. It is a bit mature on the storyteller. It's been a good down move. So I'm quite flexible to both directions, but it certainly looks like the overall, bias on the larger timeframes is still sort of to the short side. And maybe we get down to sort of 85, down to this high here in the coming next few days, and maybe we find support there. So yeah, quite interesting. Some more sort of short side in crude oil, if only for another sort of 300-400 pips. And then really interested in the Aussie Swissy as a bit of a bigger swing trade. Yeah, we've been very sort of sideways here on the weekly, but we are red. And if we go to all the time frames, and I like this as looking for a bigger move. If I'm looking for a bigger move as kind of a day trader trying to get into a swing trade, we've got momentum trigger here on the monthly. Yes, it's not really gone too far monthly if we look at it like that. But perhaps we're going to roll over in the next, we are starting to roll over today, really. It's a bit white on the daily, but we do have momentum trigger. So there's certainly short side bias and seeing if we can get something going there, at least down to 65 and beyond, really. So, yeah, interesting one, Aussie Swissy. And then we've got some of the pound pairs. Pound is setting up quite a nice, maybe a bit of a bullish move. And it's because we've got flat daily storyteller here. So we are quite flexible. We had this rally off a kind of 3-wave divergence. We've rallied up now, found some resistance at sort of money line zones and rolled over again. But, if we're finding some support, and we've got very flat storyteller. So let's just see how this goes, how it develops. Again, I'm quite flexible in both directions, and maybe we push up, we get another leg up and I'll look to participate. But really we want to kind of wait for that daily to turn green again, to find our real sort of core bias for a longer term trade. It's just very mature here on the weekly, very mature at the lows. And so we're rallying up. Just wonder if we can maybe get to the next moving average, which is about 400 pips. So look to participate in that. If it sort of doesn't, it fails, it could turn over and we could again push to even further and lower down. One other one then is just the, very similar place is the pound CAD. As we look at the pound CAD here, it's a bit stuck between sort of croc jaws there. But the daily, looks like we've maybe got a little bit more upside. Oh, sorry, that's Ethereum. That was the wrong chart. It's GBP CAD. So yeah, pound CAD, sorry. It's loads. Yeah, it looks really like it's flat as well on the daily. Do we just get that pop up? It's been on an epic sort of downward move, but we've been losing momentum here, and it's just rallied. We come back. Do we just pop up again up to sort of 16,000 zone? It's one of those where a big move is coming because we've got a flat storyteller. So just waiting for the next kind of color change. Is it solid red and therefore we go short, or is it a nice green and therefore we go long? So interesting place in the pound pairs. We could get some nice moves in there. And another sort of CAD pair as well. but CAD yen this time, you know, that is of interest. It's very overbought up here. It's been very long, very separated. Just wondering if we can get something going to the sort of short side. It looks like it's sort of rolling over here on the intraday timeframes. And if we look at the monthly is just so extended, really is so extended. We've been at this real kind of double top high from sort of almost 9 years ago, really. Do we get just a bit of a sell-off? That's what we're looking for. Once again, kind of getting flat on this storyteller. So looking for the next move. If it turns red, great, we'll just follow that. If it's green and we get new momentum trigger, we'll continue long-side trades, as is the sort of major trend. So they're the major markets I'm looking at. Hope that's of use to you guys, and I will speak to you next week.